Welcome back. In the last video, we have implemented routing in the React application. In this video, we are going to retrieve the data from the database by using the Express application. React frontend will request to the backend web server that will retrieve the data from the database, and Express will send the response to the React application. Before that, I want to give some styles for this table header. I am going to our application. In that we have th here, right? And I am going to change this color as black. Now I want to align the text as center. Right? Save changes. Now it's visible clearly. If we want to make communication between the front-end React application and our web server, we have to install some middlewares. Clearly note down, to make the communication between the React application and Express application, we need some middlewares that should be installed in the server side and also in the client, that means front-end React application. For that, we have to move to server. I am going to install the Cors. I am going to install Cors in the server side. Already we have opened in the VS Code, that is our server. Select that folder. Right click, open in integrated terminal. It will be open like this. Here we have to install npm install Cors. This should be installed in the server, not in the client side. Okay, don't install the Cors in the client side, it won't work. It should be installed in the server side. Just hit enter. Okay, now install. We have to import that Cors. For that, const Cors equal to require Cors. Cors in the inside the quotation. Right, now we have imported that Cors. Then we have to use that Cors. For that, app.use Cors. Right, this is the way of using that Cors. This line tells that Cors should be used inside our server. Then what is this Cors? The expansion of Cors is cross-origin resource sharing. It is the middleware. This is the mechanism in which a front-end can make request for resources to an external backend server. Our React application is a front-end that will request the backend server, that is Node.js Express server. Now we have to install Axios in the client side. Don't install in the server side. We have to install inside the client. For that, just click on here. Here we have to install npm install Axios. Axios is the JavaScript library for making HTTP request from the web browser to the server. By using the Axios only, we can request to our server. This Axios will provide all the HTTP methods. For that, we have to install Axios. Just hit enter. It will be installed. Okay, installed. Now we have to import this Axios. Now we can import this inside our React application. Go to app.js. Here we can import Axios from Axios. Right? We have imported. Now we can make request using the Axios to our web server. Next we have to do our React application will communicate with the web server and it will retrieve the student information as a JSON format, and that should be stored in the one variable, right? For that we have to use use state. Why we need use state and use effect, we will see. These are the hooks. Use state and the use effect is the hooks of the React. They are used to maintain the state of our variables, okay, without creating a class. In the class only we can make the state for each object, but the use state will provide that feature without class. We have to import this use state by using use state from React. Then we have to use like this. This array have two parameters. First parameter is the variable name. Then second parameter is the how we are going to update the state of the variable, right? Then we have to use equal to use state 0. This is the initial state, okay. For that we have to declare const within the square bracket. We have to use student. We are trying the student detail, so I am going to have the variable name as students, comma. The function name is set students equal to use state, right? Automatically that use state imported from React, okay. Now the initial state of this student is empty JSON value. Then we have to use effect, okay. Let's see what is the use of effect hook. By using this hook, after rendering, our component need to do something, means we can do inside the use effect, right? React will remember the function you passed that will be called after performing the DOM updation, that is rendering, okay. Whenever the updation done in the browser DOM, that time use effect will be called whichever functions we have specified. For that we have to use state. There I am going to call another method. Inside the use state function we have to specify the function which is going to be called. We have to close that use effect. Here I am going to call get students method, right? Now we have to define the get students method. Const get students equal to. So whenever we are making the database request or we are going to access other resources, we have to use asynchronous method. We have to use asynchronous keyword. Then in the arrow function syntax, I am going to specify the request. I am going to use const response. Okay, we are requesting our server that will send the response. For that I am going to use response. So yes, we have used async keyword, we have to use await. Here we have to use Axios. Axios dot, we are getting the information, student information from the server. We are requesting, right? So that we have to use get method. In the get method, we have to pass the URL and some configuration information. As of now, we don't have any configurations, but we have to pass URL, that is mandatory parameter. I am going to give inside the quotation what is our server URL. Go to, we have to start our server, right? Use npm start. Now our server is started because we have made some changes. We have installed the Cors. Now server is started, fine. Now go to browser, check whether our server is running or not. Just I am going to have new tab. I am pasting here. Yes, we are getting the student details. So what is our URL? This is our URL, right? So I'm going to copy that URL. I'm going to use inside the router, inside the React app, http://localhost:4000/students. Student is the our endpoint. Okay. Here we have to remember that some cases the local host will not be work. For that we have to use the default IP of the local host is 127.0.0.1. This is .1. This is the default IP address for the local host. Then colon 4000 is our port number, /students is our endpoint, right? We have made the request. Now I am going to print this response by using log. Inside the log, I am going to response save changes. Let's minimize this. Okay, let's save this and go to our browser. Just refresh it. Go to the student detail page. We are not printed in the browser. We have printed in the console. Go to inspect, right click and click inspect. It will open this window. Here you have to click console. We have some warnings. You will see this. After that, we have an object as a output. Here, if we click on this object, this is the response object we have printed in the browser console. So go to browser. See here, we have object. In that we have data. The data having the students. It's an array type. In this array we have 2 students in the JSON format. See here, click on student. We have 2 students details. 2 students details are retrieved from the MongoDB with the help of Express. Now I am going to print clearly. For that I am going to print in the result object we have data. In that we have students. Now save changes. Go to our browser. Now I am going to refresh this. See here we have 2 data from the React. The same students have been displayed. So we have warning, right? We have to use header. See here, we cannot use table row tag directly inside the table. Okay, we can use, but in React we should not use like that. Inside the table we have header, body section and footer section. By using those tag only we have to specify the rows. Okay, I am going to change a little bit where our code in info.js we have to specify the table header t-head and then paste it here. Then we need to add t body. Now I am going to save changes. Just check, just refresh it. We have warning here. Where we are getting that warning is, make sure you don't have any extra white spaces between the tags in each line. Okay, if we have any spaces, we have to remove those spaces, unwanted spaces. I think we don't have anything. Save changes. Yes, we have removed that spaces. Now we are getting the proper answer from the response.data.students. Okay, we are getting 2 student details in the JSON format. Now we are going to see about how to add in this table. Okay, For that we have our student information in the app.js, right? In the app.js only we are having this data. I am going to pass this. For that I am going to set the student first. Okay, getting the student and setting to use state variable students. For that, set student of response.data.students. Right? Save changes. Now we are store the student. Just to confirm that I am going to print that log students. Okay, save changes. Go to our browser. We are getting the details in the 17th line, right? Go to our file. See here in the 17th line we have printed the students. The student is successfully updated by using the use state. Okay, see here we didn't refresh. Okay, I didn't refresh anything. Automatically the state is always updated and then it is logged into the browser console. Okay, we have to pass this student information, student data into the info.js, right? But we don't have direct access to the info.js. Through the header only we have to pass. So app is the parent for header. We have to pass the student information to its child. Okay, to the child of the app component. How we can pass? I am going to pass the properties. So each and every component here have an property. Okay, maybe those properties can have function calls also, right? Now I am going to define student equal to, within the curly bracket we have to specify this use state variable students, but we can access this stud variable in the header alone. Okay, now I am going to header.js. Here we have the element header. Inside that we have info, right? From the header only we can pass to the info.js. Okay, info is the child for header. We have to access the students which has been sent in the app.js, that is the header's parent. For that React providing us to make communication between the parent and child component. React provides us a variable called as props. Props means properties, right? Now we can access the students by using this props object. See here. To confirm that I am going to log this into the console, right? I am going to print props.students. Students, not students. In which name we have sent this? We have sent the students information in the property called as stud. From that property name, in this name only we can access. So go to the header.js. We have to use stud, right? Now I am going to save the file and go to our browser. See here we have in the header.js we are getting the same students details which is sent from the its parent app.js, its parent app component, right? Now we are going to send this student to the info.js. Okay, info component we are going to send it. For that I am going to specify same name stud equal to stud, right? Stud equal to stud. This stud defined. So it's showing some error. Students is any. What we have to use? Props dot stud, right? So this props dot students refers our student information, okay, original information from the app. Now we can access those elements in the stud in the info, right? Now I am going to info.js. Here I am going to have the variable, that is argument props. Inside the info component I am going to console that props object dot stud. Now save the changes. Just go to just refresh here. It is undefined. Info.js undefined. Why we are getting? Let's check. Console.log. Yes, we have not saved this file, so that we are getting this. Now go to browser. Yes, now we are getting the student details from the info.js. Now we have to print that inside this table body. We have to specify that. For that I am going to use props.stud dot map. Then we have a variable s. Inside the curly bracket we have to specify that, so only we are getting the error, right? Now we don't have any error, right? Inside that I am going to cut it here. I am going to paste it here. Now we have to specify those details. What are the fields we have? S dot. So let's check here. We have stud name, stud department, email ID and marks. S dot. We have to specify the variable name s, not props dot student, right? We have to specify s dot stud underscore name, right? Then second column have the value s dot stud underscore department. Third value is s dot email ID. In the fourth column we have the value marks, right? Save changes. And also we have to do one thing. As it is we are using the map, we have to return for each object we have to return that. So I am going here, right? I am going to save changes and let's check file. S dot student name. Why we are getting as a string? Because we have to pass it in the expression. We have to pass this as expression, that is inside the curly bracket we have to specify that, okay, because it is an JavaScript XML expression, right? So only we have to pass those values inside the curly bracket, that is as an expression, okay? Now save the changes and go to our browser. We will have our output, right? See here we have all our data. Only 2 student data have been stored in our database, so those students are retrieved and displayed in the table, okay? Now we have save the changes and go to browser. Propster student dot map is not a function. So we are getting this error because we have students, right? Student, here we have student. Go to header.js. Here also we have student, and in the app.js we have set that property. Okay, student is an array, right? It is an empty array. So we have to specify an empty array, right? Change it as an empty array. Now go to our info.js. I save changes. Now we are getting the details in the table format, right? Now we have retrieved from the database and displayed in the React frontend using the Express server, right? Now we don't have any error. If we refresh, we don't get any error. We are having a warning. So what is the warning? Key. So unique key error. Whenever we are creating the elements or component using the iterative format or map function, we have to specify the unique key for these elements, right? To avoid that warning, we have to specify the unique ID. We don't want to create unique ID because we have unique ID in the database itself. We can use that ID. I am going to use here the value key equal to, within the curly bracket in the expression format, s dot underscore id is our database ID. What is that? S dot underscore id is our ID generated during the creation of a document. Let's save the changes. Go to our browser. Now I am going to refresh the page. Now we are not getting that warning also. We have rectified all the errors and the warnings, right? In this video, we have learned how to retrieve the information from the database using Express server and how to display it in the React frontend. In the next video, we will learn about how to create a new document from the React application by correcting the information in the entry form, right? Thank you everyone.